General Romanian CAA to also step on the stage. Then I would like to ask Mr. Cristian Paris, VP Balkans, Menzies Aviation, also to join us here on the stage. Thank you, Cristian. Then Mr. Laurent Barbotin, Project Development Director for TAV Airports, coming from Istanbul to join the stage. And last but not least, Mr. David Ciceo, CEO, Cluj International Airport. And I pass on the mic to you, Kostas, and have a good talk about.
Okay. Let's continue this really wonderful discussion we started. I think we had a lot of food for thought after really the three keynote speeches and also the presentation from David. I'm always fan of discussion because it's much more difficult for a moderator to do discussion than listen to presentations. But I believe always I'm in favor of this approach because then we can find more beneficial points that will be useful for the future use, because the thing is not who we are here, the people that participate in physical presence, but this will go online in aviationforum.aero. Then everyone in the world will be able to see what was discussed and what be said here, and will be shared with everyone, because this is the benefit of organizing this kind of events. Okay, then we talk about the boosting of regional economy. Then I would like to ask also your contribution, because we want to make it as interactive as possible. Then it's not just to listening to us, but also intervene and pose your questions or short statements if it is beneficial for our discussion. Then as we said in the morning, we speak about the development, the regional development, but in the same time, we have to see in a sustainable way. Then my first question to all of you is it feasible? Can we make it sustainable way, or it's theoretical? I don't know who wants to start from you.
The regional development could be sustainable if you pay attention to the major project. I can give you an example. I digitalized our institution, which is a state authority, which is the regulator in aviation field. It not comes from the stakeholders. We start to digitalize our services. And right now, also the stakeholders should make this step. Another major project. This digitalization help us to recover quicker than other was thinking after the COVID pandemic. And another major project we were involved to develop a region. It was related to Brașov Airport. We signed a cooperation document between Romanian CAA, Romanian NSP, and also Brașov authorities. And in this way, we were very active in their project. And we succeed to open the airport on 15th of June.
Cristian, from your perspective as part of the aviation chain?
Yeah, we are the ground handling agent. Whatever the airport wants to develop, it needs somebody behind to sustain that development. And I've said several times to David and to Iași Airport, you do your job, speed up, because we'll catch up. We'll always back you up with the development. And the example, 3 years ago, they have implemented the rule here. The equipment, ground handling equipment, not older than 3 years, and electric. And I was shocked for a year. I said, are we ready for this? And then the shock was passed and said, okay, we are ready. And we start to a friendly competition with the airport, investing in new equipment, electric. But now is coming the part with the sustainable development. There was an incident with an electric car burned completely, chemical burn. You cannot extinguish. We have now discussions, debates with the specialists, what will happen in case we'll have this kind of incident anymore with this electric equipment, because the technology is there, but it's still at the beginning phase. An electric car can burn. We push it in the middle of the apron, burn. But if it's happening with an equipment which is parked near the aircraft, a stair, touching the fuselage, or a GPU, ground power unit, 2 meters from the aircraft, what will happen? And so this has to be, I'm trying just to balance a little bit. People are, saying electric, decarbon, okay, decarbon, Africa, Asia, they don't want to do that. They don't have the money to do that. Only Europe is leading. Last year, exactly at the same conference, we were discussing in the panel, and I said, guys, remember Fukushima in Japan? They had a terrible accident. I'm a trainer for dangerous goods, yeah? Radioactive. Immediately after the accident, they said, no more nuclear plants, no more. What happened last year? The war started. Shall we go back to the coal? Not the nuclear energy, to the coal, in order to get rid of the gas, dependency or whatever. So it has to be balanced. I don't want to be, to try to diminish the speed of this one, but we need to balance. We need always to balance. Yeah, so it's possible. The key word is partnership. Airports, airline, and other stakeholders, partnership. Together we can do the development. If one guy wants to do on the back of the other ones, it's not working. Together, and with this kind of conferences, open discussions, and the local community involved, we can do, and we can sustain this development for the next tens of years. Thank you.
Laurent, you're coming from a group that operates different type of airports, big, smalls, in different parts of the world. And from your point of view, because we're talking about the regions and the regional economy, but in the same time, you operate like Ankara, that is Antalya, then Riga, among others, Tbilisi, if I'm not mistaken, then or in Tunis also, in Tunisia.
Yep.
Then North Macedonia. Then you have a big variety of big, small airports. Then what is your opinion?
Well, I think the very first point that you mentioned, which is the cooperation amongst all stakeholders, is fundamental and is key. No matter the size of the airport, by the way, but now sustainability is not whether or not we have to be sustainable. We must be. Throughout the entire group now, each and every development is meant to bring all our airports towards carbon neutrality. This is one of the first elements. And second, it's also a must, just because in order to raise financing, we need to take this on board. On top of that, sustainability, it's also the way you behave vis-à-vis your customer, the relation you have also with your staff. There is a social also aspect that we need to bring forward, because airport industry is really on the spot. It's a very easy transportations mean that can be, let's say, put on the front in order to talk about pollution, while we are probably the one making the strongest effort in order to bring environmental regulation and constraint on board, and in a very complex manner, because indeed it's lots of various stakeholders. You have indeed airlines, you have passengers, you have all those people, and the key for me, the fundamental aspect, is master planning and long-term development view, which is fundamental and critical in order to make your airport as part of the ecosystem of the region that is supposed to nourish, bringing economy, new person, going in, going out. We need, as TAV, for example, and Group ADP in general, we take pride also of being, let's say, the first thing you see from a region and the last thing you will see. So we are also accountable for representing the region in general.
Before I give the floor to David, as you have this variety of portfolio, what is the relationship of TAV with the different airports? Because you know it's different when you operate in Turkey, it's different when you operate in Tunisia, in Latvia, part of EU, non-EU, Africa, and so on. Then what is the relation with the local government? We saw with David here is a fantastic relationship. Well, the airport, it's part, you know, of the municipality, but you know, you are a company, then how's things?
Well, we are a private company. We are on the stock exchange. We are also part of a bigger group that is Group ADP, which operate Paris Airport and other airports in the world. We welcome ballpark 280 million passengers last year throughout 27 airports, which makes, I mean, we have a wide diversity of typology of airports, from tourism destination, small like in Madagascar, up to mega hub like Paris or Delhi. Most of the time, this is operated under concession PPP scheme, which means that it's private initiative under which we operate and develop airports on a long-term basis contract. We need to find the financing. But I mean, Almaty is a specific case where we are just like Paris and Orly also, where we are the owner of the airport. Those ones we are the owner. The other one, it's a long-term contract, 20, 30 years, where we have to raise financing and operate, and we are committed vis-à-vis public entities, public regulator, towards the level of service. So we need to be, let's say, innovative in the way to raise financing in order to develop and to make as qualitative as possible our airports.
Yeah, but the thing is, do they see just for them just to get revenue out of the airport, or they are understanding the importance, as you said, the first and last thing you say is the airport. They are part of your vision to work together, or just?
I know, of course. I mean, both, exactly. We are a private company. We need to make return. We owe that to our stakeholders, to our shareholders, also vis-à-vis our employee. But this is a public and strategic asset, infrastructure asset. So you cannot work properly, and you cannot meet the expectation of your client if you are not able to have a day-to-day discussion with Civil Aviation Authority, with Ministry of Transport, with the municipalities surrounding your airport, and the economical stakeholders living throughout your airport. So.
David, we saw already the success story. Congratulations. You know, your expectation is more than 2019, and that's good. When we heard from Montserrat that is 8% below 2019, then you are in the other side of the equation. That's not bad. Congratulations once again. The thing is, are you happy with the sustainable development so far of the airport? What have to be improved to make it even better?
Of course, we have to improve. It is one of our priorities, sustainability. We have to do a lot, especially because we expect 7 million passengers in 2040. We are engaged in carbon accreditation program of ACI Europe, and we want to do all the steps. And of course, the previous speakers, my colleagues, everyone talked about cooperation. So we cannot do alone. Regarding sustainability, we have to cooperate with all the stakeholders, with community, with authorities, Romanian CAA, Ministry of Transportation. It will be not easy, but we are very focused on this.
Continue with you. Montserrat said that earlier that your success story, but other regional airports are struggling. And they are not in the same position. What is your advice to this airport? What they have to do differently in order to be successful like yours?
It's not easy. It's a big effort to attract new airlines and to develop the traffic. But it's very important to be optimistic. Tenacity is very important because, as I presented, in Romania, we expect in the next 15 years the traffic to be double. So every airport will benefit for this increase. And for smaller airports, as Montserrat presented today, public service obligation would be a solution. Unfortunately, we did not use in Romania, but for smaller airports, this is very important.
Nicolae, return to you. My question will go about how the authority, the government, or the civil aviation can help the regional airport to improve. Because here we have, and I'm not talking to say specifically about Romania, but from your experience, you were in a CAC DG meeting 10, 15 days ago, then you interact with other authorities around Europe, then what is the role that the authority can play in the regional development?
Good question. In my point of view, the most important thing is to cooperate, to be involved and to supervise on each step on their development, because we can find some mistakes, and let's cut the time for project approval. And this is my view. I'm open to cooperate with any airport, and the local authorities from Galați region and Brăila region came to our facility to start a project with them to build and open a new airport in that area. And we are open to help them with the regulation, with the procedures, and with the choose of the runway position and so on. And maybe a suggestion, because last week I discussed with Turkish Airlines, and they told me we are not well promoted outside of Romania. A lot of people don't know about our beautiful regions, and this is maybe this is an idea to increase the traffic in Romania.
Cristian, last year we saw the importance of ground handling, and so far was part of the aviation chain not so recognizable, let's say, in the public eye. But after what happened last year, then and everyone recognized that without the ground handling, the system is not functioning. Then a year later, we saw that there were still delays, still shortage of staff. But are you optimistic for the future? Because I know you need people that are working in shifts, and there is also in some areas, like in my country, there is this seasonality. Then they need the staff year round. Then are you more optimistic, and do you believe that now this part of the aviation is recognized and respected more? I will be next days in Athens. There is the ASA assembly, and Glenn also will be there for the cargo part. Then what is your view?
I don't think we were upset because we were not in the lights of the media or whatever. If we are in the shadow, we would like to stay there behind the airport to sustain the development. And yes, people were talking here about high education and only engineers, IT guys, but I need loaders. You all face the delays in the baggage delivery. I need loaders. I don't need a rocket scientist and whatever. And it's harder and harder because the aviation lost the glamorous. In the last years, there is no glamour anymore to work in aviation industry like we started 30 years ago. When you said 30 years ago, I'm working in the airport on an airline, everybody will look at you at something, wow. There is no wow anymore. Yeah, so we need to find solution. We need to find, more equipment to work alone without the labor. Yeah, but together we are stronger. I have an advice for the regional airport. Yeah, unite. The power is in the unification. Everybody is a legal entity, separate legal entities. What these guys are doing here, my co-speaker here, is consolidation of the airports. Yes, this is the truth. Yeah, you have one GM, 3 stations, 4 stations. Yeah, you save money from there. I'm working for a multinational company. We are here to make money. If we don't make money, somebody else will come to make money. That's their goal. Yeah, we'll make money from ground handling, cargo. If people and local authorities will allow us to do it, because we know exactly where the cargo is going, from where. Yeah, this is our business. Cargo fueling, it's our business. Yeah, so all these aspects. Yeah, but behind them is the man, labor. We were trying last year, one example, to bring people from Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, a little bit scary regarding the risk, the problem they have over there. And I had all the approvals within 2 weeks, quickly, and then I canceled the entire procedure. The lawyer was crying because I said it's too risky. The people we are bringing here, they are temporary here. For a month or 2, they want to move away to Europe, West Europe. So, and then it's your obligation then to, when the police will catch them, your obligation is to buy the tickets to go back to their countries. We started this year, another company started, easy, we'll see. If the risk is not there, they are part of our airside, yeah, in the security control area, we are working with them. If it's working, probably that will be the future, because the local guys, they don't want to work. We never encourage the labor to work in the last 20, 30 years, unfortunately. And labor will get us out from the crisis, economical crisis. The labor was always in the 2000 years, will bring you back to the, to the good life. Labor. Otherwise, if you look up, to wait for the state to give you, I have a déjà vu 30 years ago in the communist time. We were waiting for the state to give us what? Yeah, we are the state together. Thank you.
And just to take this point you said, the glamorous, I was similar believer about this till recently I read an article that the reality is a little bit different. It was glamorous, but it was not efficient in the past, 30, 40 years ago. Many accidents, aircraft accidents, that is not anymore the case globally. And I was reading that it was glamorous with you see the porcelain, probably the picture and so on, but it was noisy. It was not going the aircraft so in higher altitude that they go now 39,000 feet, less than. Glamorous was partially. Now it's more efficient, more safe. Then I believe, it's. We need to have the compromise, and it's accessible to everyone. More and more people, it's flying all over. That in the time, you needed to have really a big pocket to fly for sure. We talk about collaboration, and this is, I think, a word that we talk more and more in the industry with Glean. We work about the project to bring all together, but the thing. There are also things that divided us, and I always say that what are the internal things have to remain in the house, not go outside the house. I mean, when you have a fight at home, you don't make it public to the media. Then we have to change this approach as an industry, and we have to focus on the things that make us united and work together. Then, do you believe, because you come from different part of the air transport aviation chain, do you believe that we can have this collaboration at the end? Can we make it happen? Can we make sometime compromise? Of course there will be differences. For sure there will continue to be differences. As you said, there are different entities, different strategy, every entity, an airport, a ground handler, the authority, airline, and so on. ATM also. Then, do you believe this collaboration can happen in the sake of our industry?
Yes, it's a must. And we have to be transparent. It's a must. We had a successful story in Brasov. We push that project. All the stakeholders, we push the project because we believe it has to happen. Of course, behind the door, behind the table, there was hits. Yeah, but it happened. It started 5th of June, 2023. It happened. A lot of effort. You know, you want to develop an airport. Bucharest is coming, Terminal 2. Please present the plans. Let's make it public discussions, guys. There will be several ideas, hundreds of ideas. How do you want to make it? Debate, and then the best decision, the best option will be taken. It has to be transparent. You know, we think we know. 30 years of aviation. I'm speaking for myself. I think I know. No, I need to find the right people to take the best of their ideas and to put it in practice. Together, we are stronger, and it's a must. It's a must.
Nicolae, from your hat as represent the authorities.
I support Cristi's speech because I passed through a major collaboration, I told you earlier, within Brașov authorities and Romanian NSP, and it was a success. It wasn't easy. It was very difficult, but we met weekly, maybe twice per week, to evaluate the way forward, to finalize the project at the time we established. It's very important because we are the people who establish the rules. The stakeholders should follow the rules or to be trained to know the rules. And in my benefit is to supervise their activities, to don't make mistakes, because otherwise I was the person who made mistakes if David will do something wrong. Yeah, we are all of us involved in aviation field. Even the handling company or I don't know, any stakeholders there.
Yeah, well, that's why it really justify why we gave them the award today, because this not all the authorities have the same approach. That's Laurent, your opinion about the collaboration?
Well, actually, I would turn the question another way. Which transportation industry is more transparent than us? When you look from a general perspective, with all the various stakeholders you have at an airport, we build always compromise. You need to make compromise with technical aspect, technical consideration. You need to meet security and safety aspects. You need to discuss with all kind of airlines. You have other stakeholders just like you from Menzies on ground handling. Everybody is doing compromise, and we are used to that in our industry for transportation. If you compare with rail, motorway, I think we go in way more compromise, and we are more transparent. For one simple reason, because there are many stakeholders. Second, we are on the spotlight because we are considered as, let's say, not an ecological solution for transportation, which is also something we need to explain better. Just like Glenn mentioned, most of the time where we put on a spot air transportation, it's mostly from a, let's say, Western European perspective, where there is lots of competition amongst all transportation means, rail, motorways that have been developed over 200 years. But in many countries where you don't have those infrastructure, if you start to build a railway between, for example, Saigon and Ho Chi Minh, Hanoi, it's 1 hour and a half by aircraft. It's easy, and it's one of the most crowded route in the world. If you start to build a railway or a motorway, the ecological cost, just coming back to sustainable, sorry, but who dare to say that the ecological impact of a motorway, of a railway in this kind of region is lower than just expanding an airport or building a new airport in Ho Chi Minh in order to to match with the needs for the population to move from one place to another. So to me, we are very transparent already, and there are various high diversity of system for operating an airport, from public, purely public, up to fully private, private ownership, concession, BOT, whatever. So to me, we are transparent.
I agree with you, and you know the fact that I always say also in the European Commission that we say about railway. Well, railway, they need to use electricity, and the electricity is produced from somewhere. It's not. Forget about France because they have the nuclear energy, and then I haven't seen any figure, any train say what is the load factor, because we operate with high load factor. I don't know what is the average Montserrat and ERA members, but most of the airlines, they will not be financially viable if they don't have load factor. Every time I go with the train, I don't see any load factor being there. Sometimes 50%. Then this is. Yeah, well, but they don't care. But then. But we are in a kind of easy target because probably because we are transparent. Then I had a discussion in the BBC Encore. They were saying, no, we see the trails of the aircraft, but we don't see what's happening. The boats that are the worst, with consumption of fuel, and of course the road is the worst. And then we are much more efficient and transparent, but we need to sell our story probably. David, what is your retain about the collaboration? Because you have also had to be, as a Romanian Airport Association, be in the board of ACI, ACI World, ACI Europe, then it's not only Romania perspective.
We hear more often the word competition, cooperation, competition. So, competition, it's a reality. We have to cooperate even sometime we compete. It's very important to understand very well the role of each stakeholder, and as our colleague said, sometimes should be a compromise.
A question from the floor. I don't know.
Thank you. So if I understood right, there is a shortage of workforce, as Cristian said. And if we consider the particular case of Romania, so a lot of our potential workforce is actually passenger, because even in Cluj, most of the Romanian, we have millions of Romanians working abroad, probably in other airports, I don't know. If you consider there is not a simple solution to bring in workers from overseas, I just want to understand if digitalization and robotics is a solution for what you consider.
We have done them, our passengers, for everybody to understand, it's our diaspora.
Exactly.
Our passengers is our diaspora. Don't stop dreaming. Yes. The tourism is coming and going, but the diaspora, yes, if they're making good money in West, they will travel 3-4 times a year. That's the passenger David showed you on the graph.
But it's not our workforce. That's
yes,
what I meant.
Our workforce, we've done the mistake in the past 10 years ago, and we've sent qualified people working in Norway, England, France, Italy. They will never return. Until probably in the next 20 years, they will want to retire and to live a nice life in Romania. Of course, we are considering, I told you the Bangladesh story. The construction domain is slowing down. This is my personal, hope. It's slowing down. And they have a lot of labor from Asia. And this labor was already checked by the Romanian authorities 5 years. So my hope is when they will slow down the construction, I will get the extra labor into our field. Yeah, because it's already checked by the Romanian authorities. This is very important thing to understand. You need to take people from the street, train them, and put them airside. When the trust in that people, it's at highest level. So we'll take labor, extra labor from the construction company, which developed a lot. And yesterday I've seen the news, they're a big part of the GDP, but we build a lot. We have built a lot and we'll slow down because the financing now it's more and more expensive. And then we'll import, labor. And I've been to Chisinau. We'll try to expand over there, and our brothers can be, taken from Republic of Moldova and to work for us here.
They left also, many of them. No, but my specific question was about robotics. So is this a field to develop in
My advice
our
to
branch?
the passenger is another one. Do not take hold bags, please. And that means we don't have to load them in the hold. Take the bags with you. And I have a joke, and it's a joke now. I will keep the last 10 passengers, volunteers, and they will help me to load the plane, and then I will put them back in the plane. That's Mr. O'Leary's way of thinking, but it will happen. Don't take bags in the hold, and that means no robotics. We've studied at a certain point in the airport, in the baggage sortation on the arrival, just to use the robotics, one man to offload, 500 pieces used, helping by the robots. In the plane, you can't have the robots yet to load the bags. Thank you.
Maybe at airport level, in airport operation, digitalization is key, because you try to ease the passenger journey throughout the airport. So we are developing a lot on that. For the consideration, let's say, of human resource shortage, it's also part, let's say, of making airport jobs more glamorous also at one moment in time. It's maybe just to find more attractive and interesting job for the people. So the staff you will require in airport in the future will also change a lot. You're turning more into hospitality. You are, again, one more time, I'd like to see us as an ambassador of the place. So more and more, the kind of person you will look at for operating the airport, at least. You have different issue, by the way, with ground handling work. But for us, it's to welcome the people. So we are getting more and more close from hotel, the kind of stuff you may find for an hotel, on top of security, safety, for sure. And I mean, digitalization is just what you need to do, because we need to ease more and more. That's always our goal, to facilitate the flow of the passenger. The best they feel, the less stressed they are, the best also is the image and the visibility of your airport in the future. So that's why I was coming back to the question you had before about what the public authorities can do in order to help the development of the airport. Actually, they can do everything. We need to cooperate with them, but at airport level, we are just a catalyst. We can help making things even better. We follow what they need, what they want to develop. We can cooperate in order to make everything flow perfectly, but we are just a catalyst on that aspect.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but I can give you an idea. Let's develop our airports with a system to make self-check-in for baggage. Because we have check-in online, yeah, but for scanning. And Mr. Ciceo here implemented a system. In my opinion, he is cutting time for passenger from they arrive to the airport until they are boarding, due to this system. You are not, it's not mandatory right now in Cluj to open your bag to pick out the liquids and electronic devices.
This facilitate the process for the passenger.
Costa, 1 second, because I want to be very specific now, becoming more wise while we're speaking. I was referring to the ramp part of the business. Apron. While my co-speaker here was mentioning the passenger side of the business, I already consider is done. So for me, it's done. The passengers, we have from 20% internet check-in to some airlines to 90% to some other airlines. I don't see the passenger anymore at the check-in. I see them only at the gate. This will be the future. That's why my mind is already working on where it's not working. This one is done. As Nicolae mentioned, all these airports which are expanding right now, Romanian airports using European funds, they have in the project to have self-baggage drop and everything. Yeah, the passenger will go there, take the label, put the label on the bag, and put the bag on the system to go to security. That's it. So my mind is already, this is a past. Yeah, it's done. What we have problems, and I discussed with the low-cost carriers, the main one in Romania with Ryanair, their application will be the future. They are expecting passengers to be trained to use the application. They don't want to use anything else, application. And we have a problem, and I explained to authorities, elderly people, they travel. They go to see their relatives on the diaspora outside. The kid is buying the ticket. The kid on the mobile receives exactly the information as the second, per second. But he doesn't call the mother and the hours. And then he's coming, the agencies to us and say, you didn't take care of these passengers. Of course we did. But we send the information, the flight is delayed 3 hours. Who is buying the ticket is not transmitting the information further. While the people will move forward in the years to come, the next generation will come, they will be very trained to use the application. There will be less and less issues. Thank you.
Any other questions from Glenn? We lost. We give you mics and they are vanished.
Exchange mics.
It's difficult getting out these really comfortable chairs, so thank you.
Sorry.
It's a question to Laurent and David. As you build your facilities, to what degree are you incorporating smart technology, whether or not it's solar panels, grey water recycling, heat shields? There's extra costs in those facilities, but they accelerate the carbon neutrality, for example, of the building. To what degree is that coming in? Because, of course, some of the financing we're seeing now, and I think Pegasus, from an airline perspective, was the first airline that actually got sustainable linked financing for its 321 NEOs, which included gender parity in the boardroom, emission targets, et cetera, et cetera. So as we see access to capital markets somewhat also being maybe controlled by sustainability aspects, how is that factoring into your development plans?
Now we are in the process to extend our departure terminal. It is solar panels will be included for this, but we have also a feasibility study for a photovoltaic park, 8 hectares. This will provide all the necessary electricity, and plus we will be double as necessity. We will become producers, and also in for our other intelligent fans, there are solar panels, and we will include next year. We will start the design for a totally new terminal. Of course, we will design to be in accordance with net zero. We hope to manage to obtain European funds, probably for environment, for decarbonization. Romanian airports, regional Romanian airports, will not be eligible for European funds in future, but probably we will find solutions to obtain European money for digitalization and decarbonization.
Well, on our side, it's not shall we or shouldn't we? It's we do. I mean, it's a must. We are one of the biggest airport operator group in the world, and it's part also of changing the mindset in the industry. We are at the forefront of developing new construction solution in order to lower our carbon footprint and on our impact. We also have some solar panel big development project, especially in Turkey, but also other airports. And each and every now expansion work, design, renovation is geared towards energy saving, carbon neutrality, and I mean, yeah, it's fully integrated to our DNA now. It's It's not we need to think about it. It's really what we want to do. And on top of that, we think we are a private company. We go to the market in order to raise financing. And in order to raise those financing, actually now, it's also a must to be compliant with social and environmental constraints.
Excellent. Kostas, can I just make a comment now to you? Because this is crucial to hear, but we don't make enough of these great stories outside of this industry. We talk to ourselves about this great success. What we need to do is we need to be so much more aggressive in how we portray what great work you guys are doing. Because outside, we know the industry is under attack. We know the industry has a great 2050 target, but I'll tell you from my daughter's perspective, she said 2050 is further away from today than when she was born. She can't see that far in the future. But the great stories of things that are happening today, the fact that you are going to be a net producer of green energy, that's phenomenal. I mean, the fact that you are building it in every one of your facilities, these are really phenomenal things that are happening today. And we need to be much more, as I say, vocal through maybe IAF about these great stories. The 2050 is great. That's a wonderful target. We know we're heading in the direction. And in fact, it's, as Montserrat was saying, we're accelerating beyond that time frame, which is great. But we need to demonstrate what we're doing now. And you guys have got some wonderful examples.
Just probably, Glenn, we have to say what is IAF because, you know, it's known between us.
That's for you. Okay, now
then, yeah, well, it's an initiative we started last year, and it's called International Aviation Forum, and for the moment is like a think tank approach, and involve people like Salvatore Sacchitano, the president of ICAO, Glenn Hughes from TIACA, myself, and Angela Gittens from Air Master Transfer Organization. We have Candace, my girl, I say correct the family name? Yeah, from the incoming chair of ACI World. We have Simon Hockhart from Canzo, and also Fabio Gamba from ASA. Then it's an initiative that we're working, and if everything will go as planned, then we're working about a campaign to promote aviation to the society, working all together. We expect to have a press conference next November in CAF, at the end of CAF 3, that is about sustainable aviation fuels in Dubai. And of course, this campaign has to be endorsed by everyone because it's for the industry to the society, because we have to show, as Glenn said, we made huge efforts, but sometimes it's known in between us, not outside our industry, and we have to change this approach forever, because, you know, otherwise we always will be an attack, and that for the wrong reason, because, you know, we are not the ones to blame. We are the easy target. You know, I was speaking, as I said, with the BBC Anchor, they say the trails of the aircraft, that is what the BBC wants to put when it wants to speak about the environment, but this is not the reality. Then stay tuned, and we need all your collaboration as well, because, you know, involve everyone here in order to make it successful. As we were talking about sustainable initiatives and what Luc said early in the morning, we spoke about SAF, and SAF need also an investment for the airports. It's not, you know, they need the infrastructure, and how this will be possible to the regionals. Okay, we might see easier, like Heathrow make a huge investment, even helping the airlines to subsidize part of the cost. But, you know, how this can be materialized in airports, and I go focusing on David and Laurent, different, of course, approach for a regional airport and a group of airports, and then what authorities can do over this direction. Then I don't know, David, you want to start?
Well, SAF, it will be quite tough for regional airports because here in Cluj, for example, here we have only one company which provide fuel. We expect tough regulation from the authorities, from state authorities, but we expect at the same time incentives. Incentives for companies, for airports, in order to facilitate SAF. And not sure the regional, well, will be a threshold regarding SAF for regional airports, but we have another question. If there will be a threshold, probably around 3 million for airports to be mandatory to include SAF, and we compete with smaller airports, SAF will mean a bigger cost. So there is a question also, this will distort competition.
Is Cluj thinking to use SAF? Or
it will be mandatory. According to projects of European regulations, also for Cluj will be mandatory. So we have to prepare, we have to discuss with providers and also with state authorities.
Laurent?
Well, I think in our larger airport we try to promote as much as we can. But there we come again to the complexity of our industry. I think this topic of SAF is mostly driven by public and probably at European or world level decision-making process in order to promote SAF as much as possible. And then it comes also to the aircraft industry and engine builder. It's an entire new R&D system and the evolution of the manufacturing of the aircraft that will make the change happen. So it's not we can be a facilitator, and at the biggest airport, maybe forced at one moment to only provide SAF, and I think it will in the end spill over the smaller airport that will have no chance but to follow the system. And there won't be any, let's say, disruption in competition also because everybody has to do the same at more or less the same moment.
Yeah, but you know, there is this issue that I've been in many times in Asia Europe events, and many times they say that most of the smaller regional airports, they are loss-making. Then if they are already in this bad position, they might deteriorate more the situation, because the thing is, you need an investment, as David said. Then what will happen? I mean, you're going to see airport vanishing?
If at one moment it's a call. After it's a public call also on whether or not you want to move towards more sustainable fuels. If it's too expensive, if it kills, let's say, the business model of smaller airport and so on, then you need to subsidize. Just like, I mean, fuel right now on biggest airport is subsidized. Take in Paris, for example, there's no certain number of tax does not apply on the fuel for the aircraft. If at one moment you decide then, okay, we subsidize SAF, we don't subsidize anymore classic fuel, it's a political will. It's
Nicolae, as you come from, not political, but you know, government and from the authorities, then what is Romanian approach on this generally? I mean, about the SAF, if they can help the airports?
I can discuss only
private
behind myself and my position, not to the government. But I suppose there will be some incentives for this project, because will be, in my opinion, will be a political decision which region should comply with this regulation. And I think it will be a political decision to help some airports, some region. If we need more and more passengers, more travelers, we need to take some decision.
Okay, I don't know, Cristian, you want to jump in on this? So
one comment, if you subsidize the airlines with sustainable fuel, please give us some money for the energy we spend for the electric equipment as well. Of course, babe, we are partners, no?
Of course. Moving also to regarding the fuel, it's there is more discussion about hydrogen. And you know, we have seen this initiative at Airbus say that they expect in 2035 to have hydrogen aircraft. And I was moderating a panel last January in Davos, and I had in a panel Felipe de Oliveira, the DG of ACI World, and the CEO of Heathrow Airport, that it was not in favor of the idea hydrogen, and I was a little bit surprised, to be honest. Then, where you see the future? Because, you know, I think also Montserrat mentioned today that it's okay, the first initiative is about sustainable aviation fuel, but it's not only this. Then we have other initiatives we have to do. Then, do we see the future in hydrogen, or because it's supposed to be really the solution, or is it not? And well, because, you know, again, demand infrastructure, because if there is one airport have hydrogen, the other not, then the aircraft cannot go simply there. Then. I didn't say, you know, blame Cristian.
Well, there is a lot of RD, research and development, in this field. Probably it is too early to say about how rapidly will happen and how will happen. There are a lot of associations, and in this field there is a lot of cooperation. In this panel, cooperation was a good word, and so for sure will be, but not sure how rapidly will be accessible, and all the procedures to be in force in order to assure safety, to assure efficiency, and also regulations. It's also about regulations.
Then, where you see more in SAF? If you had to choose about investment, because both need investment, probably Heathrow they don't want, because they made a huge investment about SAF, then they want to start invest again. Where you will have the option between the one or the other? What will be your preference?
It's too early to put money in this.
He started to invest in solar panel, yeah, because we are talking also about electric airplanes, not only hydrogen.
Thank you, because you give me. You want to add something?
Yeah. No. At GoPDP level, I mean, we are trying also to follow all the aspects. So we have also now a joint venture with Air Liquide in order to develop a hydrogen solution, but I concur with you. I think it's too early. Nowadays, we are just looking with innovation. What could be the solution for the future? It can be SAF, it can be hydrogen. At the end of the day, you have to ask. This question is more for Boeing or Airbus, and the engine manufacturer. I think it's an entire change also probably in the design of the aircraft and so on. We'll accompany the movement. My guess would be that maybe at first stage SAF will be predominant, and whether or not then hydrogen will follow, step in or not, it's another topic. Or maybe, depending on the type of aircraft, maybe there would be some different possibilities. Big question after with hydrogen is how do you produce it? And you need a prime power supply in order to develop hydrogen. So the question is really, it's quite a big one.
Just to add something, and I think my role was today, to keep people with the feet on the ground. Yeah, will Zeppelin were using hydrogen? My mind is seeing the big one burning 70 years ago. So it's very, very volatile, very flammable. Yes, guys. So live as David. I agree with David. Today, it's too early. Let them, develop. Let them, the scientists to come up with a solution. But my mind is still seeing that the Zeppelin, burning, and it's.
Jump to what Nicolae said, that, and it was also what Luc said in his presentation about electric aircraft. That is more approachable. We had Heart Aerospace, one of the airline manufacturers that want to produce this kind of aircraft. Then we're talking about aircraft not too many seats. Then it fits probably to the regions. Then, and also he spoke about VTOL. Then if you go to Paris or another airport, a big airport hub, it's a little bit more complicated with the airspace. It's congested. Then Do you see this be a star or a new era for the regionals? Because, they give opportunity with a smaller aircraft to operate, hard, I think it's, 20 seats, I don't remember. Yeah, then 20 seats would not go to a Heathrow because they occupy one slot that can occupy 200 seats. Then here you have the space because, what do you think? Is it something that will be a positive thing for regional airports? And don't forget also that more and more the passengers want to have point-to-point flights, not to connect via hub. Well,
it will be
in this case, you don't need to invest, no worries then.
It will be a possibility. There are a lot of developments. We talked a lot about innovation, a lot about sustainability, but it will be very difficult to implement because we have to train the employees. We have to change the mindset. It's a big change. For every change, there is opposition and a lot from human resources. Human resources aspects are very important, and in case of innovation and transformation and digitalization of aviation, there is a joke, but probably from the reality regarding, and it's good to tell this in context of change. At the psychiatric hospital, the doctor discussed with a patient when he go home and said, okay, you are a man, you have a job, you have a family, you are not a mouse. Do you understand? Yes, Mr. Doctor, I'm not a mouse. Okay, take these pills. In 30 days, you will come back. After half an hour, knock on the door. What happens? I saw the cat. And he said, well, but we established you are not a mouse. Yes, I'm not a mouse, but the cat knows. So this is about change in general.
Is there any question from the audience as we're approaching step by step to the end? Of course. I just ask questions, I don't respond to questions.
Just one small comment in regards to electric equipment and vertical takeoff landing. I think it's much easier because we have some heliports which can be convertible immediately into vertiports immediately. Yeah, some changes. Regulation has to do something about it. Yes, but it's easier in my view. It's now, it's happening, it's tangible. Instead of sustainable fuel or instead of hydrogen, it's now. It will happen in Paris next year. You will see. It will happen in Paris next year, so it's easy. But I have a question for our host here, our friend David. He discussed about he's developing as we speak. The airport, he was a visionary. He knew he will reach 3 million passengers. At that time, nobody believed him. And my question is, are you ready for the next phase of development? And I'm not talking about larger runways or terminals. Are you ready to buy some airports, to invest in some airports, to become a small TAV?
Oh, interesting.
Well, we considered to have participation also in airline. It was mostly in the context, it was very difficult to attract airlines, and also we considered to invest and to participate in this, and also to participate in smaller airports. Being owned by a regional state authority, it is more difficult for us. We do not have the flexibility of a private company, but because there are advantages and disadvantages to be owned by a state-owned company.
I have two last questions before we wrap up. Next year we have European elections, then we have a new commissioner. Then what is your wish for the new commissioner?
All the airports in Romania, we have a lot of expectations because there are proposals to change a lot of European regulations. Regarding slots, they do not affect us directly because they are small airports, but indirectly affect us. And we have contrary position with airlines in this field. Very important is regarding stated. There is a consultation very important regarding ground handling. Probably Cristi is more interested, but also we are interested, and with the airports we would like more control in this, regarding safety and security, not Cristi's money, but regarding safety. It was a proposal to change the directive with airport charges. We strongly oppose, and we tell the airlines that we do not have monopolistic positions. We have competition. All the time airlines, they complain we have monopolistic positions. The charges directive would be tougher. So regarding this, I said the word competition, but also a lot of articles and positions, airports, airlines, a love-hate relationship. And Montserrat could add on this, but in European Regional Association, they have also airports members and airlines. So for the next commissioner, also the Romanian airports will have proposals for transport commissioner, but also in Asia Europe is very active in this field.
Just any comments from any of you? Or no? Then one last question. Are you optimistic compared to the challenges and the new environment we live for the next years?
Yes, we in Cluj Airport, we are optimistic.
Laurent?
I definitely very optimistic.
Cristian?
My second name is optimism. So of course we passed the pandemic. We never faced it, although we had some signs to be prepared in advance. We are preparing now after the event. But of course, yes.
Nicolae, last but not least.
Of course, I'm optimistic because I see the sign. I can see the sign.
Okay, thank you. Then, please join me in applauding.
Go out and look what's happened.
Yeah.
On this airport, and there are many.
Exactly. Yeah. Then join me in applauding our panelists. And Sorin, back to you.
Okay, so I would like to thank everyone for your patience and for involvement in today's talks and today's conference. And let's have another round of applause for our wonderful panelists and their contribution to the success of today's conference. And now I would like to thank once again our partners and supporters of the event, namely Lagardère Travel Retail, our premium partner, and along with it, Best Value Duty Free Experience, the Romanian Airports Association, Gold Air Airline Services, Anima Wings, Romania Shuttle, and Amprenta Advertising. Thank you so much. And I just hope that, let's say, for everyone involved today and all participants who made it to our second edition of the Regional Air Transport Conference, now the problems that the aviation sector is undergoing and the importance of cooperation throughout the region, throughout different actors of the aviation ecosystem are far more, let's say, important, far more clearer, let's say, on how we are to proceed in in the following years, and that we are all, let's say, committed into sustaining aviation, sustaining all involved parties, and working closely together just to create, let's say, more add-on value to the entire business. Thank you so much. And we are now to conclude the conference, and we wish you a wonderful day ahead. Thank you. And we invite everyone here for the